I'm Beck and welcome to a book haul video. These are all of the books that I've recently accumulated across the Christmas period, so I thought I would talk about them before jumping into the year and starting off my to be read piles and my reading. So without further ado, I'll jump into the few 3 or 4 audiobooks that I have first, and then after that I'll show you what is on my to be read cart because they've been a mystery this whole time and I get to reveal them to you finally. Firstly, for audios, I got Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. Jimenez or Jimenez? I've heard different pronunciations, but she's quite a renowned romance author and I've heard that her characters get great development, and I really just look for fantastic character work in romance books, and I'm hoping that's what this one delivers. It's why I got it, and I hope that it is my first of many forays into her work. I also thought I should continue a series, even though this series is quite outlandish, and the audiobook is King and Queen, and this one, get ready, this one follows different dinosaur shapeshifters, and it's usually male-male romance. So I'm looking forward to this one because the other ones have just been fun and chaotic, and they've been perfect for when I'm in between something else and I don't know what I feel like reading. They've just been fun, so that's why I got the next one in this series. I think I gave the others 4 stars and 3.5 stars, so I'm looking forward to having fun with this one and seeing if I like it more or less than the other two. This one though won't come up for a while because I pre-ordered it, and that is The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. If you missed it, I've got an anticipated releases video where I talked about everything that I'm excited for coming out this year that I knew about when that video went up. I assume that more will be released or announced as the year progresses, but The Devils is a fantasy book with demons in it, and I think it follows either a corrupt priest or someone who knows about the priesthood, and it's narrated by Stephen Pacey, who did all of Joe Abercrombie's first law books. And even though I didn't love all of the first law books, they weren't completely enamoring to me in terms of emotional investment. I still really liked the subject matter and the world building at different times, and it was very dark, but Steve Pacey was just incredible, and he's the one who kept me reading, so I'm really excited to see something else that he can put his name to, because fantasy and demons, way up my alley, and I'm super excited about this one. It doesn't come out until May though, so I've got a bit of time to wait. Then I just went out on a whim, and I've seen this in a couple of videos, but it's not super hyped and super popular yet, and I saw it in the bookstore the other day and I resisted buying it, and I went and I got the audiobook instead, and it's called The Silver Blood Promise, which seems like another epic fantasy that I think I'm going to really enjoy. It says that Lucan Gardova is a card-sharp academy dropout and, thanks to a duel that ended badly, the disgraced heir to an ancient noble house. His days consist of cheap wine, rigged card games, and wondering how he might win back the life he threw away. But when Lucan discovers that his father has been murdered in strange circumstances, he finds fresh purpose. And I'm just looking forward to this almost roguelike character and a murder mystery in a fantasy setting with magic. It sounds awesome, and I'm really keen to give this one a try. And so ends the audiobook portion of this video. Are you excited to get into my to be read cart? Because I am. Firstly, I've got The Foxblood King by Hannah Witten, and I think the third book in this series either came out recently or is coming out this year, so it is a perfect time for me to pick this book up. And it says that it is a gilded, gothic, and darkly romantic new epic fantasy series, and I'm just looking forward to a bunch of those things. It also might be poly, depending on what the third book does. It seems to be going in that direction, and I'm a fan of that. So it looks like Law has been living by her wits since she was a child, running poisons for the cartel that took her in, avoiding the attention of the law, and keeping her affinity for death magic a secret. Necromancy, dark magic, potential romance, I am keen for this, so I'm really excited. The First Binding, which is a fantasy book that I know next to nothing about, but I was shopping at the end of 2024 with my friend Marie. She read the first couple of lines of this and went, "You will like that." And I tend to trust her recommendations, given that a bunch of my favorite books, like my best books of 2024, have been direct recommendations from her, so hopefully this holds out as well. Neither of us know very much about it beyond those couple of lines, and a bit of the back says, "All legends are born of truths, and just as much of lies. These are mine. Judge me for what you will, but you will hear my story first." I think it's just setting the stage for being an epic fantasy, which is just something that I like, so I'm looking forward to trying this. I've just flicked through and the writing is tiny font though, and it's over 800 pages, so this is going to be a behemoth when I do eventually try it. I thought this one was going to be a dark academia story, but I've recently gone into a bookstore and I saw it in the horror section, so maybe it's a bit of both, and it's an academy for liars, and on the front it says, "For those born with magic in their blood." So I'm assuming it's some kind of dark academia, horror, gothic, like mysterious story. It says that Lennon Carter's life is falling apart, so we've got a great stellar beginning already, until she gets a mysterious phone call inviting her to sit the entrance exam for somewhere very few have heard of, Drayton College, a school of magic hidden in a pocket of Savannah. So it does sound like it's a dark academia story with a twist on that magical school trope. Usually a magical school is a place where you find friends and found family, but the dark academia trope tends to make that magical school dangerous. So I'm looking forward to that horror element or that dark element that this seems to be promising. This one is a sequel that I wasn't sure whether I should buy, but I just bit the bullet and did it anyway, and that is A Pirate's Life for Tea, which is a cozy fantasy. It is the sequel to Can't Spell Treason Without Tea, and I enjoyed that, but not necessarily enough to warrant buying the second book. I just went out on a whim because I realized that in 2024, when I finished my to be read pile, I was like, I have made a mistake. Having no books on my to be read pile feels freeing, but also somehow stressful, because it's like I can't turn to some kind of bookshelf or cart in my house and randomly decide what I'm in the mood for that I haven't read before. And so I like having a small selection. Probably 15 to 20 books is the sweet spot, and I'm not quite there with these yet. So I'm keen to have this on my to be read pile, see if I like it. And then the third book is coming out this year, I think around March or April. So if I like it, I can continue pretty easily. And it's also not that long. So it's designed to be bite-sized, cozy and sweet with a little bit of adventure thrown in. The next two are kind of Olympus related or adjacent. And I've got the games Gods Play. And this one seems to follow a character who unwittingly gets submitted to this games or this tournament. And it's a machination designed by Hades, and it seems like there also might be a potential attraction to Hades, so I don't know if this is a romance or a fantasy, or maybe it's a fantasy with a strong romance subplot. I just like the idea of a tournament, and if there's a tournament in a fantasy book, then I'm more likely to read it. Throw in references to the gods and I'm all in, so I'm hoping that I really like this one, but I've basically seen no reviews. I just went out and bought it because it was mythology based and a tournament was in it, and that's all you really needed to hook me. I am a simple woman. Blood of Hercules is the other one I mentioned. Oh, it's very bright. Hang on. Maybe on this side it's easier to see. This one was recommended by TikTok. I didn't know that when I went out and bought it, which makes me nervous because I'm not someone who usually aligns her tastes to TikTok recommendations. Sometimes they can be good, but for the most part they've been either subpar or I did not finish them. So this one now makes me nervous. It says, step into the Colosseum at the Spartan War Academy where monsters are made, immortality is won, and even a god can die. So again, it's got that Olympus base, it's got an academy in there, so like a magical school, and probably a tournament as well, like a fight to the death. The top of the blurb says, Alexis Hurt isn't a hero and she certainly isn't a god. She's a survivor. Is that cringy? Maybe a little bit. How am I going to go with this? I don't know. I've heard this described as brain rot, so maybe I'll end up putting it down, but I do want to give it a try and genuinely see if it's worth reading or not. I basically have very low expectations for this because I've seen people go, it's terrible, and I didn't know that until after I'd already owned it. So anyway, future Beck is going to find out. And then the last book on this book haul is The Sky on Fire, which is a book that I read in 2024 and really loved because Jen Lyons is one of my like automatically purchasing authors, my auto buy authors. So when I saw this and it was a standalone fantasy and it was a dragon heist book about Anarod, who is not captured but rescued in this forest by a group of mercenaries, but they have ulterior motives because they want to pull off this heist against a dragon. But what Anarod doesn't say is that she's got a history with this dragon and it did not end well and this dragon wants her dead. So it was just a romp of a story. I found that it just grabbed me by the hand and pulled me straight in, and I just can't wait to reread this as well. I have it on audiobook because that's how I listened to it, but then I also wanted it for a physical copy for my shelf as well. A great representation of the books that I really enjoyed, and it also got an honorable mention in my best books of 2024 video, so go and check that out if you haven't seen it yet. But yes, that is the end of this book haul. It was short, it was sweet, but now I have some stuff on my to be read cart, and during the year I'd almost like to do a to be read challenge. Granted, it's going to be quite small and localized because I don't have a big to be read pile, but I wanted to assign all of them numbers, do a random number generator, and then pick a book every to be read video I do, and that will be the beginning of a reading vlog for me. So it's a way of getting through my to be read books, but also randomizing it enough so that I remain interested. So I'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll do the first one in my February TBR. We'll see what happens. But thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know if you got any books recently and what they are, because I'm always keen, clearly, to get more books because I do not have enough. I don't have enough. So thank you again so much for watching this video. I'll come chat to you down below in the comments, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye.